Okay, so what we're gonna do is we are gonna do a grid drawing, and it's gonna be a self-portrait. That's gonna help us draw very realistically and accurately and help take the guesswork out. So we started off with a photograph. You adjusted the highlights and the shadows on it, the contrast and the brightness, and I printed yours out just like mine on a 1-inch grid. Then we traced a 1-inch grid onto this nice drawing paper. Trace it very, very lightly so that you can erase all these lines later and just be left with a realistic drawing of yourself. So we're doing a grid drawing. So just like when we practiced with our practice grid drawing, this is the same exact method. Then we numbered the top squares with the alphabet and the side ones with numbers so that it's easy for us to make sure that we're drawing the same thing in the same square. The other thing is I made these windows so that when I'm drawing, I can only look at the one box that I want to draw. Here is an example of one that's gotten a little bit further along, and I'm going to do the same thing for you guys. One thing I will say is it's really, 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 really helpful to have two squares. So I'm going to show you how to make your own windows. I'm going to take just a scrap of paper, tear it in half, tear it in half again, okay? Then you are going to just take a piece of tape, any tape is fine, and line one up on one side of one of the squares and the other up at the top. Tape that together. Do the same thing on this side. So basically you're helping cut out all the noise around what it is that you want to draw. It's also helping you think about the lines and the shapes and the highlights and the shadows. So you're going to make two of these, one for your drawing and one for your photograph. And I'm going to show you how to do your grid drawing and also a couple ways to make it even easier and more accurate. Okay, so that's how you make it, and you would make two of them so you have a window for each side. I already have mine made, so I'm going to carry on. I'm working on this one. So B6. So I'm going to B6 over here, and I'm going to zoom in so you can really see what I'm doing. Okay, so again, I'm trying not to think about the fact that I'm drawing myself, and I'm really just trying to look at the lines and the shapes that I see. Okay, so I just want these two boxes to look the same, just like we practiced. So I already drew this inner shape here, and then here I look, and this line starts in the corner, and it goes like that. And then this line comes down into this corner. It curves around, and then it comes up, and you can trace the line with a pen or a Sharpie, but it comes up that angle. So do that same exact angle, and then about halfway there's a little shape like that. This part here is kind of dark. It's a little curve, so I'm just going to draw what I see. And then I have this line. It starts about here, and it curves to about here. And then there's a little dark mark. We're not shading right now, but we are drawing any of the lines that we see. I see a little curve here, so I'm going to draw that. And I see a little black triangle that's a little curvy there. Let's see, I think maybe there's a line right here, so I'm going to draw that also. And there's a little thing. So do you see how I've done the same lines from the photograph? You can check it off so you know that you finished it, and then go to the next one. This is eyes, and I know a couple of you are already on the eyes, so make sure you're definitely in the right grid square. So a C6. Okay, now sometimes eyes can be kind of scary to draw, so I'm going to show you a couple ways. I'm going to show you how to break it down even more so you're not thinking about eyes. The first thing I'm going to do, you can do this for any section, is I'm going to make a plus mark in the middle. So basically I'm just dividing this into 4 more mini squares. I'm going to do that also very lightly because I want to erase these lines later. Do you see how I made kind of like a mini grid inside? Okay, so this is going to help me figure out where things should go. So here up in the corner, it goes like this and it makes kind of a curved triangle above it. Do you guys see that? Okay. And then this one starts a little below, but it's a second line, right? And then this line ends about here. So I'm gonna, and you see this shape here? And I'm not gonna draw all the eyebrows, but I'm gonna kind of draw these lines right there, just so I see what's supposed to be there. Then here, in this little corner, there's a little curve. So I'm gonna draw that, okay? And then there's a little line right here. So now I basically have this corner done right here, okay? So here, this line continues, it's a curve and it goes down into the corner to the left. There's some eyelashes there, but I'm not gonna really draw those yet. Feel like I have that corner done. So now here, there's a line that comes swooping down a little bit in this corner, and then a little one right here, right? And there's a little curve right there, tiny. Now here, this starts here, and it's a line diagonal up to about here with a little tiny bit of a curve in it, but not too much. Then, one thing, when you get to pupils, do not color them in black right now. Just leave the outside shape of the pupil, but don't color it in, okay? Because we're going to put highlights and stuff in there. But then inside this part, there's a little curve. And there is, in our head, we know it's a pupil that's black, but it's actually going to have some shading. So we're going to leave it as is right now. I think maybe there's a little extra line right here. Okay. Then this makes sort of a triangle shape that reaches over to about here. This goes that angle. This is a pretty good diagonal right here. And then this line comes down. Then there's a curve real close to the edge over here. And do y'all see anything missing? Maybe a little bit of a, is there a line right here? Yeah. Do you see anything else? I could put in these details now, but I might do a little bit, but I think I'm going to need to do more. There's like a little line. Anything with hair you kind of want to hold off on. So I'll do more detail with those later. Okay, but does that look accurate to you? Should this be a little bit more curved? Or like that? Is that better? Okay. So then you can see that my lines didn't quite line up here. You guys see that? How it's a little bit. So I'm just going to smooth that out. And I'm drawing lightly so I can adjust anything. And this one's pretty close, but I'm just going to smooth that line in between those two boxes now. So you can see that it's starting to look just like the photo. But I'm not saying, okay, I'm going to draw an eye. I'm really good at drawing eyes. I'm saying I'm going to draw this curve that I see. I'm going to draw this line that I see. Does that make sense? So you're going to do that until every time you do it, mark off that you finished that one. I'm a big fan of breaking things down into 4 more squares when you get something with a lot of details in it, like an eye or hair. So that's the basic concept. You guys are going to do all of your face and your hair. Remember, with hair, don't draw every single piece of hair. Just pick out the main important lines and main important shapes. Like this black area is black, so draw the shape of that. The highlighted areas, so you're picking out shapes and lines and highlights and shadows that you see. And no matter what your hair looks like, if you have braids or anything, find the light in the dark areas and any lines and shapes that you can see. I am going to put in my background because I really like it. I think it's going to look like a great drawing, but don't shade anything until I do a demo on that. So that is it. You're going to do the whole thing. And then after that, when you have approval, then we're going to erase the lines and start shading.